What's up, college football fans? Sonoy Valente here once again with the Mean Green Show, and Steven Hamner over here with QB Spotlight. And today we're going to dive in and do a QB temperature room check on the Cincinnati Bearcats, who are currently, probably the GOAT G5 program as it stands right now. And they've got a very, very talented QB room. And but before we get into all that, guys, you already know the drill. If you're a fan of college football recruiting, G5 football, and of course the transfer portal, make sure to like and subscribe to each of our channels. Mine at the Mean Green Show, and Steven Hamner's over there at QB Spotlight. This is just kind of where our worlds collide a little bit, and we do these quarterback temperature room checks from time to time. So be sure to subscribe so you never miss one. All right, Steven. So I know you and I have both been pretty excited about the Cincinnati QB room check, and really just excited to dive into things with you. So it's not really so much a competition as far as who's going to start next year, obviously with Desmond Ridder being who he is since his freshman year. But there's just two names to talk about, as well as Desmond Ridder, as well as Evan Prater. And if you don't know about Evan Prater, just stay tuned because we're going to get into that. And so, Steve, what are your thoughts, on these guys?
Yeah, so this may be the most talented quarterback room in all Group of Five. If you look at Desmond Ridder and what he was able to do last year and the big steps that he took and just how he became more of a complete quarterback and was very consistent. And then you look at Evan Prater, who, according to 24/7 Sports, was a 4-star recruit, was ranked at that 92-ish, which is a pretty high 4-star. And sometimes these 24/7 websites will have, they'll have like a bio about each kid, and they compare Evan Prater to Colin Kaepernick and project him to be a second-round pick in the NFL draft. There's
another G5 quarterback.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And there's a quote that says, maybe the most talented prospect to commit with the Group of Five program in several cycles, has very high upside as a multi-year starter and potential early round draft pick. But before I talk about Evan Prater, we'll dive into him in a second. Let's talk about Desmond Ridder and give him his credit, because the guy took huge steps last year. So had a good freshman season. Sophomore season struggled. Had that sophomore slump, if you will. It wasn't as consistent. Completion percentage went down from like 61-ish to 55-ish and was just off. And then starts off not bad in 2020, but was still kind of inconsistent. Had a 3-interception game against USF and was just kind of like, man, is this kind of the same-o? Has he hit his ceiling? And then long story short, he took huge steps. His completion percentage ended up being like that 65-ish range, I think, at 2020, and had 12 rushing touchdowns, 19 touchdowns passing to 6 interceptions or something along those lines, and was one of the best quarterbacks in all of the Group of Five, throwing and running. Has absolute rocket, big dude who can run. And so I'm super excited to see his development this next season. And for 2021, he could be a guy who gets drafted relatively high if he has a big season in 2021. And then you got Evan Prater, who is able to have another year to learn, because now he'll be the second string guy, as Ben Bryant, their backup, is transferred away. But man, overall, and we'll dive into Prater here in a second, but I think they have one of the best quarterback rooms in all of Group of Five, if not the best. And temperature check has to be extremely high fever, right? For me.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I still am, and don't like SMU, but their quarterback room I think it's phenomenal. But man, yeah, I think Cincy's quarterback room has them beat. And, so, and with G5, the issue that really comes along with being a G5 school, trying to maintain that high level of play. And with UNT, you get a guy like Mason Fine and you have some really good years, and then, you lose a guy like that and usually you take a pretty decent dip. But man, with them having Prater as heir to the throne here, it just seems like they're poised to just keep on going and maybe just keep going up. Yeah. I mean, good God, man, like he could have went essentially anywhere. He had all the offers, being that highly rated of a 4-star, a lot like Preston Stone in this, in this 21 class. But he ultimately chose a G5 program, albeit it's a great G5 program in Cincinnati. So, okay. I mean, where do you think things go after Ridder leaves for Cincinnati?
So I think I don't think it necessarily depends that much on Evan Prater. I think it depends on does Luke Fickell stay, because his name's always in that talk. Let's just assume he stays for the conversations. We're talking quarterbacks, and now you have Evan Prater come in, and theoretically you wouldn't expect or hope that there'll be much of a drop off from Desmond Ridder if he has a big year, because Prater is equally as talented, similar quarterback systematically in what he brings to the table in his tool set. Big dude, about 6'5", $190. He's probably put on some pounds at the college strength program, but athletic as can be and has absolute rocket. If you haven't seen his highlight tape, go check out his huddle. Anyone that's watching, he's absolute dude. There's a reason why he had offers from Miami, Oklahoma State, Louisville. Those guys, those schools wanted him. But he chose Cincinnati. So I think it's great because he is still raw, that he has another year to develop. Just because you saw Desmond Ridder develop in even last year, and he was a starter for that was his third year starting. So the fact that Ridder was able to develop and play, and now Prater that doesn't have to play early. So now it's like, okay, maybe Prater won't go through those growing pains, if you will, that Desmond Ridder went through in that 2019 season. So I think it only goes up from here for Cincinnati if Luke Fickell stays, and the fact you got Evan Prater is a sign of good things to come for Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, we're starting to get a little bit more spoiled with these quarterbacks. Like, you got freshmen coming in like Trevor Lawrence and Tua Tagovailoa, and just these guys coming in doing amazing things as a freshman, which is amazing. But we can't expect that,
Right.
and and I'm a believer you really can't emulate game reps, but at the same time, if you do have the opportunity to learn a little bit, maybe a year or two behind a really good quarterback in Desmond Ridder, that I don't think that's really hurting you. That I think that's only helping you. So, I feel like just the table is set for Prater, after Ridder leaves, and where do you think Ridder? You think Ridder's a draft guy, right?
100% he's a draft guy. I think largely where depends on what kind of season he has, this season. If he has a huge season and builds on what he did last year, then he's going to get some talk because of the talent that he has, and the tools that he has, and the upside and development that he has at the next level. Now, if he has a subpar season, which I don't think is going to happen, but let's just say he doesn't have a huge season like I'm kind of projecting him to have, I think he's still a draftable guy based on his tool set and based on just his projection with the right coaching. But I think he has a good season. I think he gets drafted mid-ish to early round, that 2,
like 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty fair assessment if he has a good season, and then that is even more encouraging for Evan Prater to sit behind the NFL guy, learn, grow, and then kind of rock and roll. It's his turn, ideally. So temperature check for me, I'm that 103-ish range, which is probably the highest I've ever been. But I think got a big fever because Ridder was awesome last year, especially after the first few games, and Evan Prater is just a wealth of talent that's developing behind him.
Yeah, man, I got to say I'm right there with you. 103 at least, and that's crazy, man. And they have like Evan Prater, again, just projections 24, but they have him projected as a second round pick, and just that's crazy, dude. Both those guys are in a G5 in the same quarterback room, and just super excited to see how this plays out for them, and just a fan of the underdog in the G5 and all that, and I'll be keeping close tabs on the Cincy SMU game, and that'll be a good quarterback duel. Whoever the starter is for SMU, I think that's going to be a really good quarterback showing, and just that's good for G5 football, so. Well, man, Steven, anything else we need to touch on? Really nothing but good things to say about Cincinnati. No shock there.
On, talking more and more, but nothing else from me. If anyone would like a film breakdown of Ridder or Prater, we can kind of take a deep dive. Let us know and we'll make that happen. But that's all I got, brother.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Once again, let us know what you think about these two QBs in the comments down below. Cincy fans, we'd love to hear from you guys. And and once again, check over Steven Hamner's stuff. He does a bunch of quarterback breakdowns and gets more into film specifics and stuff like that, rather than him and I just kind of shoot the breeze here. But he'll definitely do a bunch of G5s as well. And since if you guys want your boys on his channel, let us know. So, all right, Steven, thanks for coming on again, and love collabing with you, and look forward to doing it again soon.